I'm back with another book review. So I finished this actually a while ago, to be honest, but it's Wicked. Based on the musical was based off of this. And I will say this was a hard read for me. Because it wasn't what I expected. I expected it to be more along the lines of the musical. And then I was like, oh, being a book person that I am, I'm like, you didn't follow the musical at all. I mean, you didn't follow the book at all, musical. And then I read this review, or listened to this podcast on the author's interpretation of when they asked to do a musical of his work. And he's like, he was really skeptical of it, but when he heard the opening song, No One Mourns the Wicked, he's like, you've got it. That's the whole point of the book series. And just as a warning, this is not a happy ending. It's a very sad ending, and his whole point was to prove that not everything ends in happy endings. And I thought that was so, once I heard that, I was like, oh, that's brilliant. It's such like a good thing to know that not everything ends with a bow, which is one of my things. I hate when things don't end with a bow, specifically books. It drives me crazy. And so his whole point was stuff doesn't always end happy. Life is hard. It is gonna be difficult. You can't just always hope for unicorns and rainbows. And it's just it made me appreciate it so much more after I heard that interview, and it kind of made me love it more. But if you're looking for a happy book, this is not what that is. This is definitely just the life of somebody who had a hard life and was judged, and for her skin color and the choices she made, though not necessarily bad to begin with, ended up with her dying alone and just being sad. And so it's just it kind of, and it is sad. It's sad that somebody couldn't be redeemed, which is one of my things. I don't like when people get redeemed. It's actually, it's funny because I just saw a musical a couple months ago where it ends sad. Nothing is done. There's no justice for the people. I'm just like, what? It's over 100 years old and they still don't have justice for these people? It blew my mind. And I was just like, it took me back to reading this book and listening to that review or listening to his take on it, and be like, stuff doesn't always end with a bow. And you have to realize that sometimes things will be left unended, or left open. And I think it's really important to remember that try as you might to rectify situations or rectify and make everything end in a bow, it won't always end in a bow. And there will be stories that are unwritten and stories that are left unfinished, because that is how life is created, and that's how life is. But I will still say this is brilliantly written. It is absolutely just so intelligent in the thought behind everything and how he goes into detail with the stories. I would say I don't think it's for minors, probably teens, because there's a lot of people that are committing affairs and stuff like that, and I'm not a promoter of those, or thruples and stuff like that. I'm sorry to each their own, but that's not something I promote. And so if that's your jam, that you're right along that point. But if you're a parent thinking about letting your children read this book, I'd wait until they're at least in their teens so that they have a better understanding. The thing is, sometimes you read a book and it's just over their heads. And so maybe just when the child has better understanding of the book, that's my personal take. But it was still, as an adult, a really good read and a good way to look at life. And to see the Wizard of Oz from a non-Dorothy-esque view. The fact that he wrote this, he's one of the original people that took original stories. I mean, this is over 20, 30 years old, maybe even 40 years old. I'm really bad with time, so I'd have to look That's what the original publication did was. So 95. So it's about 30 years old. Oh, it is 30 years old. So it's a time when people didn't often take fairy tales, and it's kind of common now to have fairy tales taken and put on their heads, but it was kind of a newer thing, I believe. I don't know. I was only 4 when that happened, so who knows. But for my reading skills, this is one of the first times it's been done, and I think he did such a brilliant job, and it's just kind of wonderful. But yeah, lots of things to say about this book, but I hope you all enjoyed this review, and you all have a great day.